I want to welcome our guest today, Lindsay Auden, who is a video expert and video trainer here at Impact. And at any given time, Lindsay is working with maybe a dozen or so clients in a
That's
variety of
fair. A dozen
industries,
sounds correct. Yeah.
which I think is amazing to think about because most people do not have insight into 12 companies at once like you do.
hmm
And that's incredibly valuable.
Yeah, I've learned so much about not just how businesses run, but how businesses all over the world have run. Because, John, I think if you look at my schedule right now, I could be in working with a business in the UK in the morning and then a business in New Zealand in the afternoon. So not only have I learned a lot about different industries, because all of the industries that I am working with right now are different. It's industries all around the world, which is pretty awesome.
It is. It's amazing. Whenever I watch our calls, our service calls, or get to know our clients, the diversity is staggering and really, really interesting because anything that we teach, the fact that it could apply to a manufacturing business in New Zealand and an insurance business in Colorado is pretty amazing.
hmm
So that is, I think, a good way of setting the table and reminding everyone who's listening that what we're talking about applies very broadly in as many industries and as diverse industries as you could possibly think of. And I think that's a good way of leading into something that is on a lot of people's minds, but might feel there might be a little bit of an intimidation factor or I just don't totally get it factor. So our focus today is all on short form video and why short form videos are a vital tool for reaching your audience. So Lindsay, could you start off just by telling us what you mean or what one means when they say short form video content?
Yeah, so short form video content and the way that we have not we at Impact, but the way that social media and platforms have defined it is a video that is short in nature, meaning no more than a minute, probably. Sometimes you can get away with a minute 30, but no more than a minute. And it's filmed in a vertical orientation. So typically, when we've watched TV in the past, it's been on a like landscape platform, but or landscape orientation. But with phones and how most people consume media right now, everything's in portrait mode. And so that short form vertical is really the key here, is the vertical piece of this. Is anytime I'm talking to someone about short form content, I'm referencing, yes, a video that is short, but also a video that is filmed in a vertical orientation. So that's how I would define, and most people would define short form video content today.
And it's interesting because we naturally think of social media platforms,
Mhm.
vertical videos in things like Instagram or TikTok or things like that. But also on the largest video platform in the world, YouTube,
Yes.
there are two different algorithms there. There's your feed of videos that are based on things that you've watched or liked in the past, but then there's also short form content, those vertical videos, whether you are on desktop or mobile, and there are different algorithms for both, but they are very much a big part of the way that people consume content, even on YouTube. So I think we have to dispel the notion that this is just, kids stuff, it's TikTok or something. This is everywhere. This is LinkedIn for sure, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, anywhere that you can consume video, you can consume short form video. And I'll be interested to hear your take on this, but in this year, 2023, 90% of global advertisers have increased their investment in short form video content. What's your take there? Does that surprise you?
That doesn't surprise me at all. If anything, it sounds incredibly smart because it sounds like the people who are doing that are taking a good look at their data and realizing that the people who they're trying to reach spend most of their viewing hours on their phones. And so if you are trying to connect with people on a device that they're using all of the time, what better way to do that than make a short form video that you can put up on let's say you realize most of your audience is on Instagram in between the hours of 6 and 9 p.m. Well, what better way to reach them than throw a video up on your channel or your platform or account, whatever you want to call it, and have it served to them at a time that they're actually viewing it in a format that's going to get them with the device that they're on. So it doesn't surprise me at all that that is the that's a staggering number, 99% of advertisers. So that tells me that two things is they're doing their research and catering to where buyers and people are today, but also that this is not just a trend for 2023. Well, I think we're going to see a lot more of this in 2024 and beyond.
I want to pick up on something that you said because it really interests me. You said, why not have your videos served to them, served to your audience? And I think it's important to note the way that people discover things. We think of social media platforms as discovery platforms. If you go to Google, you search something, you know the question you're asking, you're looking for something. When you are on a social media platform, and YouTube kind of straddles the line, it's a search engine, it's a social platform, it's a few different things. But when you're on those platforms, you are in a place to discover new content. And I think any of us out there could probably think of a time in our lives where we have been on some social media platform. We have discovered something we didn't even know existed to solve a problem we maybe didn't even realize that we had, and we bought it. And that, I know that doesn't apply to all businesses, but I think that's an important mindset to be aware of in consumers, that they can discover something on discovery platforms different than if they're searching for something.
Yeah. And it sounds like a novel experience, but this is stuff I've been teaching people I work with all the time when it comes down to their buyer's journey. That piece of the buyer's journey that people struggle the most with, I think, is identifying what in the very beginning of the awareness phase. And just to remind everyone, the buyer's journey is generally 3 phases: awareness, consideration, and decision. And so if you're on social media, you're very much in an awareness phase. And sometimes in the awareness phase, they don't know a couple of things. They don't know that they have a problem, and they don't know yet that you're a solution to a problem that they have. So if I'm just going to use CrossFit because anyone who knows me knows that I've been doing CrossFit for 10 years and my social media feed is just a lot of stuff. But if I'm on Instagram and I'm scrolling my Instagram and it's a bunch of CrossFit athletes, and then all of a sudden something in my Instagram comes up that's related to a piece of CrossFit equipment that I might want in the gym, like let's say I tore my grips, my gymnastics grips. It's hot, sticky in Florida where I live. They're old, they tore, I need new ones. I might be thinking I could go with the ones that I have already. But after I look at Instagram and there is a partnership with a brand I don't know and an athlete that I follow, and it's a video in my feed of this athlete talking about these grips, I might jump ship. I'm at least now aware of this new type of grip that I could use that I won't rip my hands when I'm trying to do a million pull-ups. So there's definitely if you are making short form content and you have not mapped at least your awareness phase of your buyer's journey and able to identify when someone could discover you as a solution, then you're basically shooting yourself in the foot because you're not being very intentional about the short form video that you're making.
Yeah, 100%. So just to pause and reintroduce, this is Lindsay Auden, video producer, video expert, video trainer here at Impact, talking about short form video and how important it is in the modern marketing landscape. And I love hearing you say that you've been teaching this for years, and I think that makes a ton of sense. But I'm interested if you are seeing, in general, your clients' output, say over the last few years, shifting. What percentage of what they produce now is short form video versus a few years ago when this was still there, but not as big a thing as it is right now?
Yeah, I think short form a few years ago was not a consideration. Like my goal is always, no matter if it's short form or long form, to teach people how to make content that is helpful, unbiased, and educational. And typically that had been done in a longer format because people were frankly afraid to use long form video. And People are still afraid to use it a little bit, but it's a really valuable tool in general. But I would say in the last year, there's been more of a focus on short form. And I would say I'm teaching more short form than ever. And just doing that has increased the output of what I would normally teach people to do by 100%. Sounds dramatic, but when you were going from zero and then actually doing it, it's part of it's definitely more ingrained into the strategy than it has ever been before. So I think what's great now is that you can, if you're on YouTube and you're making YouTube shorts, you can direct people from a YouTube short right to the long form video that answers a similar question. Maybe definitely in more detail if it's longer. So that has totally changed the way that I teach people YouTube strategy.
Yeah, fascinating. So a short form is kind of a nibble. It's sort of an appetizer that gets them ready for something longer. So you're teaching this stuff. How? How does your teaching of short form video, making short form video, different than your teaching of making a long form video, a 3 to 5 minute video for YouTube?
Yeah, long form video. I'll start with this. Long form video is a higher barrier to entry. Because if you're making a long form video, you probably are setting up a really nice DSLR camera, pulling out all of your lights, making sure your setup looks good, and hitting record. And then your videographer is taking that piece of content and editing it down into a 3 to 4 or 2 to 3 minute video, and then publishing it on YouTube. The barrier to entry with short form is not that. Someone can make really high quality shorts content, but in my experience, viewers are more forgiving with lower quality shorts than a lower quality long form video. So if you are, let's say if I'm working with a company and they tell me, Lindsay, we don't have the budget to hire a videographer, but we really want to dive into video. All right, well then we're making short form content and we are making it on cell phones, and we are just getting started to post and create bite-sized videos that you can drive people to your website or to another piece of content that is maybe written. Or if we get really good at framing our short form content and really good at producing it, then maybe we can invest in doing some more long form content with the team that we already have. So it's definitely a lower barrier to entry. People are generally more forgiving with more organic or authentic looking content that's not as highly produced. There's obviously some of that out there, but it's my guess that most of those teams have a videographer on staff. But if you don't have a videographer, it shouldn't get in your way of making short form content. I think I answered your question, John.
You did, absolutely.
Anything else?
Well, I just think the nature of the orientation, as you were saying before, it's portrait, not landscape. It's a phone. It's made to be on a phone. I think, at least some of what I've read is platforms will prioritize content that's produced within the platform. So making a really nicely edited short is sometimes going to be suppressed by the platform itself, as opposed to using Instagram's native tools or using TikTok's native tools, because they want you to, their goal is to make it easy and for you to use the tools that they provide.
Yeah, well, and they want you to stay in their platform. They don't want you to leave the platform and go somewhere else and have to take screen time away from being within their platform. So if you can do everything all in one, then yeah, you're going to get rewarded for that when you go to hit publish.
Do you find that, or do you teach your clients that short form video is naturally maybe a little more playful or a little more lighthearted or a little less? Is there a different tone to it or different kind of mood to it as opposed to longer form?
I think you would have to do a lot of experimenting to find what tone is correct for your video or for your audience. I've seen some really playful short form content go nowhere. And then I've seen some really something that's maybe not as intuitively exciting get 500 views in an hour. And so I think it really just depends on who your audience is, which kind of goes back to our point about the buyer's journey. If you know that your audience is going to find this funny, or if you know that you're known as a naturally like funny brand, then that should be the tone of your video. But if you're not that funny, don't try to be funny because it's not going to come off as authentic in your short form videos.
Yeah, great advice. We all know those cringy videos of people trying to be funny and it
Yeah.
just doesn't land.
Nope.
But that said, though, I think there is a truth to something that someone I follow said, and I always really liked it, is that bad content is almost invisible. Like you think you're going to post something, and like you said, maybe it goes nowhere. It'll just sort of get suppressed. Maybe you take it down eventually, but it feels to me that this is a place where you can do some experimentation. Maybe something lands, maybe something doesn't, and that can help guide your messaging moving forward. But there's a danger of just sitting on your hands and doing nothing because you're too afraid to try it out, and then you don't go anywhere.
Yeah, I literally, every time I kick off with a company that's doing video, I always tell them, you're going to make videos in the beginning of our relationship that you hate, that I'm going to tell you to publish anyway. And they look at me and they say, okay, a little trepidatious, but the whole point of that is we just need to get started. Start making content, start publishing it. Once we know what's working and what's not working, we can make informed decisions from there of what direction we should go. So if you are afraid of looking bad or looking silly, you're missing out on a valuable digital landscape, and your competitor is going to do it before you. So that's, get started. If you can look back on a video you made now in 6 months from now and say, I know what I would do better because of X, Y, and Z, that's a huge milestone, because that means you've been making content, you've been practicing, you've been getting better, and a piece of content that maybe sucked, now 6 months from now you can make it better. That's a huge win.
Yeah, totally agree. And like all social media, the feedback mechanism is so responsive and so fast. I think often if we're changing our messaging on our homepage or we're writing a blog article, it takes time to get meaningful feedback on this. If you post a short, you're going to get, like you said, 500 views in an hour or 0 views, and like it's either going to resonate or it's not, but that feedback loop is so short that you're going to get it really, really fast.
Yeah.
So Lindsay, just to close, and I want to make sure that we always have this in our mindset, and you had said it before, that the goal of video, no matter how we make it, no matter what platform we use or anything else, we can't lose sight of the main goal, that this is for your audience, this is for education, this is presenting your brand as a trustworthy one, this is establishing or delivering value to the audience out there. And how do you, as a trainer, as a teacher, make sure your clients never lose sight of that?
I think it comes back to what checks and balances a company has within and how they review content consistently. So it's not just enough to make a piece of content and just put it out there and forget about it. You should be consistently watching the content back and asking yourself the question, why did we make this again? Who is it for? And how are we currently using it? And if you can't clearly answer any of those 3 questions, then we need to evaluate strongly, like, why are we doing video?
Right. We have limited resources, so why are we committing resources to something if we don't have a goal in mind?
Yeah.
Great points. Lindsay, great conversation. And just a reminder to anyone listening or watching that businesses just like yours work with Lindsay every day to improve the way that they go to market, improve the way that they communicate with their audience. You can reach out to Lindsay, certainly through our website or through LinkedIn, to connect with her and hear what she can do for you or for other businesses like yours. Lindsay, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, John.